Hello collectors! Today I'm going to show you how you can replace your worn out Sega Genesis controller button pads with resilient ones fresh from the factory for less than the cost of a green pepper. Look, I've got a lot of worn out Sega Genesis controllers. A lot. Sometimes it's A, sometimes it's B and C, sometimes everything, including the D-pad, must be pressed with a Herculean force to get any response. It wouldn't be an issue if I could find cheap replacement pads for Sega Genesis controller buttons. Those which do pop up from time to time on eBay are scavenged from working controllers and usually cost the same or slightly less than buying a whole controller. It's sad that retro gaming manufacturers once again have abandoned Sega Genesis fans. However, it doesn't have to be that way, if you're resourceful. My experiments with the cheap NES replacements, widely available for less than $1, have shown that you can use these parts for Sega Genesis controllers. After you've removed the 6 screws on the back side of the controller, you'll have access to the insides. So now we have access to the pads, and they look like they should work. They even have some spring to them, but they do not. And here are our replacement pads, but they're obviously made for the NES, so the A and B buttons here are connected. So we'll just have to cut them to size. You can actually see before I cut them that it's the exact same size as a Sega Genesis controller. And so I just want to cut that off with a nice sharp pair of scissors. These are made for cutting cloth, made by Fiskars. So yeah, try getting some of these. And among other things, they're really useful. So yeah, cut everything from past that lip away. Try to be, as neat as possible to get as much of that circle there. And we're not done yet because, as you'll note, the how can I show this? The NES pad actually has a higher nipple than the Genesis pad. So I eyeball this at this point, and if you're not sure, you can cut a little bit off at a time, and eventually you'll get to the approximate height. Let's see how that looks. I would say that's alright. So now you want to just repeat the process for however many buttons you want to replace. And you say, well, what if my D-pad's worn out? Actually, the D-pad for the NES, it won't stretch over that. But if you just place it there, it will work. But it'll be responsive. It'll feel a little bit different, like it's lower. I don't know how to describe it, but it will work. So unfortunately, if you want the exact same feel, you're not going to get it. What I recommend doing is, after you've replaced the buttons you need to replace, you put this board back on, keep the screws removed, close this up, and then just press the buttons and see how they feel. If they feel springy enough, or if the controller just won't close properly, maybe you need to cut more off around the edges of the new replacement pad. So yeah, just experiment little by little, shaving off the edges of where you need to on those replacement pads. Maybe I haven't tried it yet, but maybe the Sega Saturn replacement controller kits will work with the 6 buttons controller kits for the or 6-button controllers for the Sega Genesis 6-button controllers, but anyways, I have yet to try that out.
I'll throw the link to the specific listing I purchased in the description. Each set cost me a total of about $3. Be patient and plan ahead because mine took 1 month to the day to arrive from China. I recommend buying several as these kits supply only the 2-button NES controller. And remember, play the game!